Hello, everyone. Hi, Grant. This is our
Hi.
guest. Before anything, I'd like to do an acknowledgement of country on behalf of us. I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the unceded land on which we work, learn, and live, the Wurundjeri, Wurrung, and Bunurong peoples. I also acknowledge and am grateful for the traditional owners, elders, and knowledge holders of all Indigenous nations and clans who have been instrumental in our reconciliation journey. We recognise the unique place held by Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander peoples as the original owners and custodians of the land and waterways across the Australian continent, with histories of continuous connection dating back more than 60,000 years. We acknowledge your enduring cultural practice of caring for country. We pay respects for elders past and present. My name is Tommi Parrish, and I'm a cartoonist, and this is my friend Grant Ionatán, who I have known for over 10 years now, who's like an incredible artist, cartoonist, maker of sound. I have like a proper intro if you, and then all right.
Yeah, I think we've known each other since like 2014, which is I think 12 or 13 years.
Just
Is that
little
right?
babies. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tiny children.
Tiny, tiny children. Thank God we're grown ups now, I tell you.
Yeah.
So your little intro, Grant Ionatán, formerly HTMLflowers, is a multimedia artist whose work explores illness, poverty, systematic injustice, and the supernatural. They've been featured in big, well-known publications as well as small, barely read publications.
That's right.
Haven't we all? Currently, they're in the process of working their non-visitors, working their no visitors comic series. A new home recorded album, various works of video art, and improvisational site specific works. Wow, that was a twister. Okay, one more little piece of housekeeping, and then I'll shut up. So toolkits. That's what we're doing right now. So Toolkits Connect is a 12-week program for writers aged 30 and under to develop their skills in a unique and exciting online environment. Toolkits is run by Express Media. Express has been around for over 30 years, developing, supporting, and promoting young writers through workshops that develop skills, through opportunities for constructive feedback and publications like VoiceWorks, and through awards and programs that recognize excellence. Toolkits Connect is generously sponsored by Copyright Cultural Fund and Australian Poetry. This session will be available on YouTube as a resource and will be captioned in the coming days. If you'd like to ask any questions, you can do so via the chat on YouTube. Questions are very encouraged. All right, that's me done. Rent.
Hi.
Tell me about you. Hi, thank you so much for joining us.
Did you just say tell me about you?
Tell me about you. I did say tell me about us, but I meant tell me about you.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm just a little freak boy. I like to document life in various forms. So, and I guess why don't you lead me with a question?
All right. What parts of life stick out to you the most, or what have you noticed yourself documenting the most consistently, like over the course of your like adult life career as an artist?
Definitely just like things that exist in, I guess what I always think of as like the existential borderlands of things, like experiences that make you ask like why you're alive, what being alive is, that kind of stuff. And I think I'm very interested in exoticizing the mundane, like making your daily life, your domestic life, sort of creating devotional works to that. One of my favorite pieces of writing is like Letters to a Young Poet by Rilke. I mean, it's kind of they're collected letters that Rilke wrote to a young poet. The the 18th century poet Rainer Maria Rilke. And in it, he talks about populating your work with the things of your daily life, like literally just looking around you. Like if you are to write a poem, then you probably want to write a poem about that includes a black water bottle or like a black lampshade, things like that. That kind of daily life stuff being written into stories about, you know, why we're alive. I think that's really important to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot about the like write what you know, like write what's important to you.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah. I was thinking about it a lot today. It's interesting because, like, I guess you don't necessarily decide the shape of your life, right? There's a quote I like, which is that people are rarely ever more than co-authors in their own lives. You know, like you never get to be the main author of your life. You're always a co-author, and sometimes you have less agency than that even. And so there's something quite beautiful about, like, when you write what you know, you are kind of also writing a universal experience in a way. The things you know aren't the things you choose, but the way that you capture them and devote work to them through art makes them universal concepts. It marries it all in with, I mean, you may as well be Homer, right? Or like an ancient Greek guy, just kind of writing about what's happening on the block, you know, and in the process, you're like talking about gods, you know? So I feel like that's what most artists end up doing if they devote their lives to it.
I feel like we're also like none of our, like, we're not that different in terms of like in the span of like humans being humans, like probably the things that we want and we think about like don't diverge that much. And so it makes sense that like auto was very like people like it's so relatable, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's a really I mean, it's like the importance of art, right? You know, I'm always thinking about this, especially lately. I am reading the classics. At the moment I'm reading Voltaire's Candide, which was written in the 1700s, and it's just like, it's just very funny, like reading it. I'm like, this is just stuff I complain about in my daily life. These are things I think. Like a lot of the book is concerned with a philosopher who has a dumb philosophy that keeps getting proven wrong, but he never changes his mind about it. And it's like, I'm surrounded by that. I'm also like that. Like, you know, so I think there's something, you do say something universal when you just catalog your own life, you know, paradoxically. I love that.
I mean, I suppose for people who don't know, like you do like very personal autobio and have for as long as I've known you. You also kind of like do like fictional stuff. Something that comes up a lot, like people ask me, like, how do you filter through like what you want to share and what you don't want to share? Like what's do you hold some things kind of like closer to your heart, or do you just kind of, I feel like when we were both much younger, it was a very much like just put it out there. And I have so many of your old zines actually.
I have a bunch of yours too.
Yeah. Which I think is actually like a philosophy I've been trying to like teach during toolkits. It's like, have an idea, put it out there. Like don't get like in the mud of perfectionism. So I suppose like what I want to know is, what are your relationship to that now?
Yeah, I mean, I used to think about it a lot more, but it becomes really habitual and you stop questioning so much what to put out. Every now and then there's something where I double think it and I cross something out, because one thing I do is I post my diary on my Patreon. And it's not my raw, unfiltered diary. It's things I've collected from my daily diary that I put into like a large post that summarizes the month. And sometimes I erase something. Usually it's something that references someone else, though. I can be I'm a little careful about how I talk about other people in my work, especially if they're directly in my life. I think, you know, the stories that I have with those people usually come out in fiction. And at that point, it's been so rewritten that I'm not sure the people even realize they're in it, which is how I prefer to do it, because the relationships in my life matter to me. I don't want people to feel like You know, I'm just like, somebody annoys me and then I immediately just post it online or something. I'm not like that. So, yeah, when I was younger, I would just put everything out. I think, I think I've started, I don't know, I guess there was maybe a way in which I was upcycling trauma when I was younger. Just kind of like, you know, I knew that people were interested in the fact that I lived with chronic illnesses and that my experience was maybe difficult or whatever, or marginalized, quote unquote. And so I used to just really dig into any kind of trauma I was experiencing. And someone, I can't remember the name, but this guy's written a book called The Trauma Industrial Complex, and he talks about people making work from lived experience. And I really dug into that, and for a long time, I thought it was great, but it kind of emotionally destroyed me. So I now try really hard to make sure that it's not the only thing I'm talking about, essentially, that my life is bigger than my illnesses. Yeah, you know, I feel almost silly about the idea that I ever had to reevaluate that, and just to be like, oh, I don't, you know, I could make a story that had nothing to do with being chronically ill if I wanted, you know, which for a long time it felt like, why would anyone read that, you know? But there was a period I just wrote, just whatever I was thinking just got put into a zine and put out there. And I think that's a really important practice, because you don't realize who you are until you're in the company of other people. And it's the same with making things. You don't really know how you feel about something until you've released it. Which zines can be great for that, because you can issue a republication on your own dime and not have to worry too much. You know, if you're like, hey, you know what, the cover of that was awful, I'm going to reprint with a better cover, like if you need to. Though at this point, I wouldn't do something like that. I think I just like it. If it's going to be shit, it's got to be shit sometimes, you know. You got to make some bad work, man.
Like it's the same with bad tattoos. Like you got them, they're there.
Oh, I love a bad tattoo, because for me, the process of a tattoo is my body doesn't matter that much. My time on earth is limited, so fuck it. I'll get anything tattooed, you know. I have tattoos, I have no clue what they mean anymore. And I feel the same way about creating work. I watched an interview with an artist who has passed on. I can't remember his name for the life of me. But he talked about how knowing what you're doing is hugely overrated as an artist, especially. And I think that's really true. If I could go back to my younger self, I would tell him to stop analyzing the work so much, and to stop psychologizing the process so much, and to just do it. And also to stop explaining what it means to people. That's the other thing. People still ask me what things mean, and I try not to tell them anymore. Especially because you find out weird things that they think it means, which is even better than anything you could have thought of. And whatever you thought of was a thing you made up on the spot too. Like, even if you believe it's true, it's like, yeah, but you don't know. You don't know why you sit down and draw these little hieroglyphs and then you're like, that's my life. Like, it's, you know, it's sort of outside of you. You don't have responsibility over it, I don't think so.
No, it is interesting. People's like need to. Yeah, it's fun to play with. But speaking about people's need to know, can we dig into your journals a little bit? I hear that you've kind of like, you've got some like images to like kind of like.
I do. Yeah, if whoever is behind the scenes would like to pull up some of my diary, is that how it works? I think so. I don't know. Or do I do it? Do I click on it? No, I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, I do. I catalog my life by way of diary, visual as well as text. I've always done it since I was a kid. I have some. I don't know how to show them. I thought that maybe.
Yeah, I thought we worked this out, and now I'm also totally blanking on like what we.
Well, I took a huge amount of photos of a bunch of stuff. Anyway, I guess the viewers will have to imagine. There we go. There's a stack of my journals. One thing that's crucial about this is the journals are on my altar shelf. I'm a very spiritual person. This is a shelf that's filled with all of my devotional objects. It's where I do most of my spiritual worship. And so the most the most important place for my journals to be would be there, because they are a cataloging of my experience on Earth, you know, which I think is an inherently mystical experience. Thank you, Mia. There's another one called Notebook Pile 2. Can you please bring that one up? Thank you. You can see it's next to my box of crow bones and special rocks. Underneath there is all the tiny little journals. Yeah. It's beneath like a devotional object I carved to a pagan deity I do some work with. I can see there's actually the DVD of my police interrogation next to it, so which has my legal name. And could you bring up the portable notebooks as well, Mia? Thank you so much. And these are, I wanted to show these because one of these is for my resentments that I write out in line with step 4 of Alcoholics Anonymous. Another one is Notes on Magic. So I'm big on the occult. That book is just full of things that I read about magic. 2 of the other ones are just my daily journal where I write down anything I'm thinking. And then above that is what I call a day book. And that's kind of where you do your meditation or you say a prayer and you write a little bit about how you feel afterwards. So I'm a big fan of having a multiplicity of diaries that you can refer to. A way to index your internal world, I guess. Yeah, so diary is a big part of my life. I think, I don't know, there's something so important about it to me, especially because it's like code. You're kind of, it's like a mirror in code, you know? And I guess having all of these artifacts of my time, over the years, I've started to imagine it as like composting myself. Like I'm always going through these old journals and reading things. And in a way, they're the same things I think now, but they're different too. And I can have all this love and empathy for this person I once was. And there's something about it, I think, as time goes on, where you realize that all of your notions about what was suitable to release or what was a good idea are just like very, what's the word? They're very transitory. And you stop being so harsh on yourself and you just start releasing things because you look through your old diaries, you're like, that's a great idea. I just thought, I couldn't imagine it was, because at the time I didn't love myself, or I just thought I'd have a dumb idea, or it reminded me too much of something I was obsessed with, which now reading it, I can't even see that in it. So why would someone else, you know, like, I also have some images that all start with the word diary. If we could put those on the screen one at a time. Those are the things that I post to my Patreon. And they're just they're like a mixture between a junk journal, whatever I've been drawing, and yeah, excerpts from my daily journal. And sometimes I goose them up. Sometimes I take the excerpts from my daily journal and I'm like, you know, I could do a little turn of phrase there. I could make it a little, I could make it sparkle somewhat. Thank you, Mia. Yeah, there's a drawing of Simone Weil in this. Simone Weil is a big influence on me. One of her most important works, she's a French philosopher, and she was very ill as well. And so her meditations on illness were really instructive to me as a young person. And one of her most important works, Gravity and Grace, is actually a notebook that she died writing and just was published after she passed. And it had an enormous effect on me. And there's a quality to it that so much has been obscured from that text. Like you're frequently reading things and you have to go searching for yourself to find out what that might have meant. You know, you have to look up like, what did Simone Weil mean by this? And often it's just something she's referencing with one word, you know, like sometimes she gets to the end of a paragraph and will just write like potatoes or like King Leopold or something. And you're like, what the fuck? You have to look that up later. And I really like that. I really like that element of it not being totally clear what's happening, you know, like you're just getting to listen in to someone's conversation with themselves, which I think is really beautiful. Yeah. Can we pull up another diary post? Thank you. This is my latest one, which is available on my Patreon, which is the best way to see my work.
Bam. Patreon.com, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, this just writes about how I'm sick at the moment. I'm stuck in my room. I'm watching YouTube videos on how to stop overthinking again. I've been going to this weird spiritualist church, so I did a drawing of one of the angels in there. This person down the bottom, asleep next to a journal. That's, it's literally, I'm just documenting the process of documenting. When I was younger, I used to think you needed more than that, but the older I get, the more I see that's what most artists are doing. Because that's I don't know. I guess we all just want to know why. We all just want to collect ourselves. We all just want to put ourselves together in different ways, and it changes every day. So yeah, I don't know.
There's a
I don't
lot
know
of
what to say.
there's a lot that has been like written and continues to be written about the idea of the archive, and how central it is to like so many people's practices and lives. And I feel like that's like mirrored in the sort of things that you make. Like it is an archive.
Yeah, that's the idea. I think.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of work always just touched me so much when I was growing up. I really was a big fan of Henry Rollins's diaries. I loved reading his diaries when I was like an angry 16-year-old. I've always enjoyed the film work of Jem Cohen, and his work is incredibly diary oriented. He did this great film about Fugazi called Instrument, where he just followed them for 10 years, and like everything you see on the screen is just selections of that time. There's no guiding narrative. It's just like here someone is in a time and a place, and here's what they see. And I think that's kind of an endlessly fruitful idea and an endlessly fruitful pursuit. So.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because that's like another thing that we've been focusing on in terms of writing and dismantling the idea of like a narrative needing to be look a certain way, needing to have like a beginning, middle, end, and and I feel like so much of learning how to make like that is like learning how to trust yourself and like lean into just like who cares. It's like not good or doesn't make sense or whatever. Like you're just gonna sort of make what is like true in that moment.
My difference in approach, I think, would be that it's not about trusting myself. It's like I try to take myself out of the equation more or less. Like I try to just trust that something else is doing something through me. There's a good interview I like with Philip Guston, the painter, who's a big influence on me. And this interviewer, he says, when an artist goes into the studio, they take with them their family, their peers, their classmates, their teachers, their mechanic, their dentist. And then as the hours go by and they paint slowly, one by one, all those people leave the room until eventually it's just the artist. And then if the artist is very lucky, the artist leaves the room too, and there's no one there, and the work is just being done. And so that's what I go for. I really, I aspire to that, that idea that, so I guess that's why I stop at the idea of trusting myself, because I think I get in the way. And I think that whatever is speaking through me is the same thing that is spoken through all the artists I've ever loved. And it gives me this sense that I'm just supposed to show up and be devotional, and devote my time, like give my time and my life force to this. And if I do that, then something really beautiful will speak through me. And a lot of the days that works, then you have some days where you feel so bad you can't imagine doing anything useful, and you look back at your old work and you hate it all. And usually that's because I'm looking at it through a lens of me. I'm looking at it through, oh, what does this mean about me? Rather than looking at the work and saying, oh, this is a human experience. This is inherently beautiful,
Has your spiritual practice changed the way that you make art? Or is it just like, are they running parallel, or are they sort of, do they work
together? They're really married. I think I tried for a long time to make art sort of more vocationally, and it kind of like, it ruined my experience of it. And eventually I just couldn't continue. I had to take quite a long break, and I had to ask myself, like, what would happen if I never made anything else? I mean, the whole time I was journaling, but it wasn't for anyone. There were ugly, disgusting, beautiful journals. I still draw from them all the time. Like, I pull from them. Sometimes I go through them and I find even a drawing I like, and I just directly put it into something. But the vocational project of art, without a spiritual, without it being a spiritual path, really ruined my ability to continue doing it. And for my own journey, I had really bad addiction problems. They got a lot worse. The more I got work and the more I had a career, the worse that all got. And so now I'm trying really hard to find a way to just pursue art in a spiritual manner, and then sometimes get paid. But I really try. If I'm doing too much stuff for money, the part of me that loves making art just starts having a tantrum and won't show up anymore. And then I'm sitting there at a table depressed while I'm supposed to be deeply connected with the human experience. I'm just depressed because I'm forcing myself to create, and so what spiritual practice does, what a really intentional one does, is it gives you tools. It just gives you, a toolbox where you can say, I'm feeling messed up. I know I could just do a bit of meditation. I could do a prayer. I could do some ritual. That's the other thing. Some good ritual will have you trying things you've never tried before. It'll have you making things you've never made before. Like, I've done woodwork to do a spiritual thing, and that has started to bleed over into my practice. And I'd never have done woodwork. I did this really interesting exhibition with like 9 other artists 2 years ago, maybe last year. I can't quite remember. We did it in an abandoned church, and I made sculptural things, which I don't usually do. I did this really weird performance where I walked around with a mask on, and I had like a bunch of songs I'd made. I played them on a boom in a garbage bag over my shoulder, and I was carrying a hammer, which is quite menacing. And I was just going around, just walking around like a sort of Frankenstein character or something. And I didn't know I was going to do that before I did it. It felt really good. And that was for me, like a really strong intersection of ritual and art for me. And so, yeah, over the years, the more I've been more intentionally spiritual, the more it's become a ritual practice for me. And that's just been, I just love my life a lot more now that it's not a job. I really hate, I don't mind getting paid to do a ritual, but I really hate, making art for a job. I think it's quite bad for you. So
I feel like we've bonded over this a little bit, actually.
Yeah, we have.
Some people can pull it off, but I don't know. It's
some
bad.
People are great at it.
Some people are
some people are great at it, and I think I will say a lot of the people that are really good at it, their work doesn't speak to me in the way that I would like it to. Maybe I don't feel drawn in. I just love an artist who just creates. It's a habit, it's a ritual, it's a compulsion. I have this thing in my head where if I watch an art documentary, I have a running list in my mind of art documentaries that don't talk about money. There's so few of them, but there are some documentaries about art that don't talk about money, where they just talk about the artists and the art, and it's mind-blowing. You have these other films where they talk about money in a religious way, where it's kind of this remarkable Christ-like story that they could market David Bowie or something because he looks kind of gay or something weird like that. They're like, oh, his eyes were different colors and he was super pale, and then it's like, we marketed the hell out of him. No one said we could do it. And I just find that to be so boring. It just destroys a documentary for me. So yeah, I have a running list in my mind of films about artists that don't talk about the money, because I think, the money, the marketing, that's the parasite on this beautiful ritualistic practice.
I couldn't agree more. We should get a list. Also, I want to see more of these pictures that we're just blah blah blahing away, and I want people to be able to see. I want to get a list of some of these movies you're talking about, and also any resources that have I mean, I know it's a big thing, but that have been really important to you and your practice in terms of just, I don't know,
Yeah.
going toward the like sustained artist that you are and you will keep being?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that stupid Bob Dylan movie with Timothy Chalamet, and it brought up in me an anger that I haven't felt for a long time, just about how the life of the artist is represented. Young artists will watch that movie and they'll think that's how you do it, and it's just not how you do it. Like, the majority of artists are not going to do it like that. And Bob Dylan himself didn't do it like that. That's a marketing story. That's a marketing ploy. That whole movie is marketing, you know. The daily life of an artist is mundane and beautiful. And if you can't learn to love that mundanity, then, you know, you're not going to have a long, healthy career of making art. You're going to struggle really hard, and you're probably going to quit when you're not famous by 30, and you're going to find the whole and you're going to lose this beautiful connection to this practice that probably gave you life at a time when you really needed it, you know?
Yeah. And you're probably not going to be famous at 30.
No, and it also seems like quite a bad lifestyle. You know, Drake's always rapping about how nobody can have a camera phone around him. He can't trust anybody. Like, why would you want that, you know? So that you can LARP as Elon Musk? Like, what are we doing? You know?
We don't want that.
Nobody wants that. Nobody really wants that, you know?
More pictures, pretty please.
Yeah, maybe some of the comics. I have a comic, the 2.jpg is what it's named. These are pandemic comics. So I was doing these during the pandemic. They were a reflection of my daily life and thoughts I was having. But there's quite a lot that's obscured. If you read that comic, you'd think I lived alone, but I was living with my sister and my mom at the time. But I was having simultaneously a very lonely experience, you know. And so that was the Nobody series. That might come back. You know, I start series and then sometimes I don't finish them for years and years. And so I did like 6 of these Nobody comics. I might come back to them someday. If we could get Code Gray page 6 up next, that'd be great. And this is the No Visitors series. And again, I started this series in 2013 and I've only recently come back to it and started working on it again. Part of why I had to stop working on it was because I had become really invested in that upcycling of trauma thing. I was just like directly trying to catalog my difficult experience. And, you know, my belief was people were reading it because, oh yeah, it's a beautiful, ill experience, right? And that seemed really good at the time. But the older I got, the more I was like, maybe that's just not like a sustainable thing. Maybe I don't want to be constantly reaffirming that I'm just like a sick person who can only say valuable things about sickness, you know? Anyway, here's a page of me getting drunk and then going back to hospital. So yeah, on that note. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, I get stuck on it's a double-edged thing, right? Like I want to talk about my life directly. I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about, but I have to make sure that I'm not trapping myself, which is why it took me so long to come back to No Visitors. I'm trying to write it now, and it's interesting to start a series, leave it alone for about 6 or 7 years and come back to it and then just disagree with so much of what you're reading. Like I hate my own perspective in it. So often I'm like, why did I write this? I'm going to have to deal with this somehow, you know? But now I'm doing the opposite. I'm trying to tap into whatever I was thinking back then, even if I think it's very stupid. And I'm trying to empathize with that younger version of myself so I can sort of honor that process. And maybe over time I can write a version that makes sense to me. I don't know.
Sounds confronting, honestly. Yeah. Like looking back. Oh, we have a question.
Yeah, here we go. Is there a difference between how you approach work that's intended for online space versus physical space? Kind of. I guess like I'm really interested in how they blend together. I frequently will use screen caps of things. I often take phone photos of things and just like run them through Preview. I've never learned how to use Photoshop. I think it's stupid. So I just use Preview that comes free with your laptop. And I just enhance the image. And I really like it when the image doesn't come out how I like, because it's sort of like it has its own agency. And so, yeah, look, the main difference at this point, I love how those two things blend together. The main difference at this point is just the monetary aspect. because when I post everything I'm making for free on Instagram, that's just Meta, benefiting off of my hard work. And it's just me not getting, any kind of support for what I'm doing. So a fair bit of what I do now, well, half of what I do is paywalled on Patreon. I also think that the Instagram scroll thing, it doesn't ask people to engage. So I guess, yeah, abbreviation is a big part of what goes on the online space, just because it has to be that way. I prefer to just have a screen cap of something and tell someone where they can go read the real thing, Yeah, the physical aspect. If I can, I like to add hand done details on zines and stuff. That always feels really nice. I have a series, like Sonogram and Incision. They're two hospital comics I made, or hospital diaries, and the front cover of those I colored in with colored pencil because it just feels good, and it's part of why I fell in love with zines. When people do weird formats of zines, when people do strange representations of a zine, that makes me so excited. Oh, you've got one? Do you have my old butterfly zine?
These are all
wow, look at that.
Got the little sticky $1.
Whoa, some of those must be so old. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Do you have Suck My Scab? That was the original Megahex. Ha!
Yeah.
Yeah, the original Megahex. Few people have seen that now. This is before Megan Mogg was a thing.
Let's see if I can get the blur off. There we go. So yeah, we've got. Is this? No, this is just Simon. Whoopsie. There you are.
Yeah. Oh, Bright Threads. Yeah, Bright Threads. That was fun.
Oh,
that included just a bunch of other comic artists I liked. Oh man, it's back when Ollie was still doing that kind of visual art.
Look at this. Look at this pricey.
How much was it?
Oh, $3.
What a sellout! What a ripoff!
Oh, here's another old one. Christian Bale.
Oh yeah, I mean that was a very acid influenced zine. I used to make these short zines that I would give out at shows I was doing, because I had a little rap thing going on at the time, and so I would make them and then go and print them and then just give them out at whatever the next show was. And I did that one, and me and my friend Oscar took acid, and we got really obsessed with this photo we found online of Christian Bale, and we just kept saying Christian Bale to each other and laughing really hard. So that's why I did that zine that says Christian Bale in it.
An important moment in history.
Well, that's right. No, but that goes back to what we're talking about. Fuck trying to be important. If you're trying to be important, you'll always fail. You just got to do what you're doing. Maybe somebody will find it important. Oh yeah, the first No Visitors. This one's interesting because it's a halfway point between comics and journaling, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, these are very, very precious. Very precious objects.
That's why they're in the Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
I love that.
We have
What's that one? Oh, that one's, yeah, I guess there is some collage in there. That one is just a direct reflection of a terrible period in hospital. I tried to reread that the other day. It's interesting. I think it's cute how poor I was at writing, like rereading it. I'm making up words a lot because I don't know what the real words are. There's a lot of words where I'm like, that word seems like a better word. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I love and always have about your practice is just like how much it just like, I don't know, it seems like it just expands out. It feels like there's like an intuition that you're like, that you just, have trust in and like have for a long time. Like you make music as well, which seems to feed into your zines and, yeah.
Yeah, I think they all have to be in conversation. I mean, they are, whether or not, like, that's something I realized. They are in conversation, and I'm a big fan of repeating yourself. I think there's this weird thing we have this obsession with about being individual and, the first person to ever think of something. And it's bullshit. Like everything you do including the city you live in and the people you talk to, are reflections of things that existed before them. You know, I heard someone say that books are made of other books. I think that's really important, you know. And so my stuff is made of other stuff. And I think as you grow older, you get the privilege of being able to make your stuff out of your own stuff. But when you start, you have to make your stuff out of other people's stuff. And then gradually, as time goes on, you start making your stuff out of your own stuff so much that it seems like you're original. And then people are like, wow, no one's ever thought like this. And it's like, no. It's just so well hidden, all my influences now. Like I have so many influences and they're all filtered through me over so many years that I seem like I made it up. I didn't make it up. I'm just still, you know, I'm still repeating Rilke poems, Rilke.
Yeah. I mean, none of us made anything up. I feel like that's like a very important thing. Like everything came from somewhere. Like everything.
Yeah,
what's the whole thing? Everything is like a Simpsons episode that's been done.
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of the microcosm and the macrocosm, you know, that we reflect what's out there and what's out there is within us. I heard a cheesy motivational quote that was like, you are not a drop of the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop. I like that.
Ooh, nice.
That's good, right? 5-minute warning. Less so now. I guess it's a 3-minute warning.
Ooh, do you have any others that you'd like to? Any other pictures that you're a big fan of that you'd like to bring up?
I guess you could look at some like the Incision. I have 2 photos from my zine, the Incision zine. That one is a direct reflection of like just having quite bad hospital stays. I don't know if you want to bring those up, Mia, just before I go. But quite a lot of the stuff in there is like direct from, I mean, you can see that's just a form that someone filled out for me. I think this is from one of my therapists at the time. I can't remember. And then another thing I did, which I think if you click over to the next one, you'll see some selfies. So these selfies were things I asked people for online, other sick people, to send me so I could draw them and put them into my journal, which was a real big honor to be able to do that. But yeah, this is, and some of this is traced, some of this is drawn. So like underneath there, you can see that's just a photocopy of a plastic bag for stuff they were going to inject me with. You know, I'm a really big fan of that. I just think you should drag your life into your journal. You should drag it all, squish it down and jam it into your journal. And then, you know, in 20 years time, open that journal again and be transported right back to where you once were and see how thin and fragile the concept of time is. Do some time traveling, you know?
It's funny because this is, you know, do you know the idea of the cut up? It's basically just collage.
Yeah.
And there's this guy whose name, obviously, I can't remember right now because this is coming down.
William Burroughs?
Yes, thank you. The big William Burroughs. You know how he calls collage time traveling. He calls his like version of time traveling, and yeah, that's what you do. You just go. We had a go on.
Me and Simon Hanselman used to call it paper hip hop because we liked sampling. We thought sampling was really cool, so it was like we were sampling when we were doing collages.
That's very
stupid. Yeah, cute is that word.
Well, I guess we're needing to wrap up in 1 minute. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been absolutely lovely having a chat with you and hearing about.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I feel like someone's asked me a question. How do we put a comic in? Oh, how did I think of putting a comic in a comic?
That was really cool. I loved when you did that.
Yeah, I stole it from Watchmen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Everything comes from everything.
That's present in a lot of really cool zines too. People do that all the time. I think it's a really cool technique.
Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
I feel like just mess around with time. Why can't like multiple
mess
stories?
around with time.
Yeah. Anyway, oh my God, we have a couple of seconds left. Grant, it
3
was
seconds,
so wonderful.
2 seconds.
Oh,
I love you.
I love you
light up my
too. We're gonna go on to ask some questions in like a private group with the toolkits people, me, you, and Grant. And,
Google Meet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mia.
Look up Grant. Where can people find you?
Patreon.com/Grant Ionatán. Or you can go to my Instagram, which is grant.ionatán.
Ionatán.
Ionatan.
All right, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah,
go to
sub to my page.
patreon.com. Yeah, become a member.
Chips. I need chips and gravy. I need it so bad.
We all do.
It so bad.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.